With the release of the trailer for Zendaya's newest black girl dating white man film, a lot of discourse has spawned, surprisingly on one of the most uplifting and respectful places on the internet, Twitter. A lot of the negativity surrounding this film is about race, specifically Zendaya's race. I mean, who else's race would the complaints be about? The film is full of white people, which actually brings us to our first point. Interracial couples in film are, for some reason, harder concepts for people to get their head around than purple aliens destroying universes or Jared Leto being a good actor. A lot of people saw the sexual nature of the film and instantly jumped to conclusions of it being some sort of race fetishization being shoved down the viewers' throats. Y'all annoy me with your weird mixed couple fetishes. You're using black actresses as scapegoat to fulfill your creepy desires. Especially with Zendaya. You make black women look so pathetic, fiending for these mediocre white men, and it's sick. I see where a lot of these complaints come from, as interracial couples are often overly sexualized in film, probably because of how taboo it is, because of the creepy old white men in Hollywood who can only imagine what it's like to be with a black woman. This is very prevalent in the character of Nova in Queen Sugar. By the way, don't get mad at me if I get something wrong. I've never watched this show. I'm going solely off an article written by Rebecca Theodore Vachon called Interracial Couple Representation in Pop Culture Isn't as Progressive as We Think. The show follows Nova Bordelon, a social justice activist who, throughout the course of the show, discovers that her white boyfriend, Calvin, a former police officer, took part in paralyzing a young black teen. Ashley Shackelford, a self-proclaimed fat hood feminist, wrote that desire can change the way we perceive others, and that black women in sexual relationships with white men may be blind to the violence and oppression towards their community from that white man. I think these conclusions link back to the issue of Hollywood's over-sexualization of mixed-race couples, as it could be argued that the representation of desire and lust in these relationships in film could be down to the white people in charge, wanting those with white partners to be blindsided by sexual feelings and just forgive and forget. Even through this lens, it is hard to imagine that the people on Twitter who have an issue with mixed-race relationships in film aren't just overly prideful, anti-race mixers. And, I was right. A lot of the language is definitely overdoing the racial aspect of the relationships in this film.
I'm taking such good care of my little white boys.
But if you try to convince me that the people who have an issue with this aspect of the film don't just have radical views on race mixing, I don't know what to tell you. That's dumb. Not to be uptight, but I'm not comfortable with the thought of seeing a black woman have a threesome with two white dudes. There are weird implications. The hatred towards this aspect of the film is less about the over-sexualization of the biracial relationship and any connotations that come with that, and more about the fact this relationship exists at all. Judging by the trailer, race doesn't seem to play a big part in Zendaya's character. I feel like the role could have been played by a white woman and it would have been the same movie, except maybe the taking care of my white boys part. That would have been kind of weird.
I'm taking such good care of my little white boys.
But after changing some lines around, no one would have bat an eye, and race wouldn't have come into the picture, and then the script was leaked. I'm pretty sure the script leaked over a year ago, but recently, Twitter got its grimy paws all over it and noticed Tashi Donaldson, the character who Zendaya is playing in the film, is supposed to be a black woman. A lot of people were understandably outraged and very confused, as Zendaya, a mixed-race woman who has made it clear that she doesn't want to take roles from black actresses due to how they're not given the same opportunities as white actresses, is taking roles from black actresses. I'm not here to say what makes someone black. Some people consider mixed-race people to be black, while others think that the whiteness in them means they shouldn't be considered black. And for some reason, I'm making a video about this instead of the co-owner of this channel. Zendaya should never be cast as a black woman ever again. That's a white woman now. This opinion of her not being black enough comes from her own self-admittance of being the acceptable face of black Hollywood, which just gave people an excuse to say she was privileged in the industry and shouldn't play roles written for black actresses, which I can't say I disagree with. Insane. This was supposed to be a role for a black woman, but Zendaya went for it. I don't really have a conclusion for the last point. Think what you want to think about Zendaya's blackness. It's really just a matter of opinion. If you think she's black enough to play a role for a black actress, or if you don't, it doesn't change the fact that this film is coming out, and it doesn't change the amount of angry tweets that will come out when this film drops. As for the point about interracial relationships and their representation in film, Hollywood just needs to do better. There is a lot of great representation out there, but there is an inherent issue with the over-sexualization of these mixed-race couples, and there's definitely a big issue with black women being scary or the dominant one in the relationship. I feel as though challenges will contribute to this issue, as Zendaya's character coaches her boyfriend throughout the film, creating a clear power divide. As much as the film industry needs to improve their representation of mixed-race relationships, the main problem is the general public. Interracial relationships are a beautiful thing, bringing cultures together, tearing down out-of-date boundaries, and ending a lot of ignorance. If you're against people of different races being together, you're an asshole. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.